I have one question. You have mentioned in your question negative sciences. We are against to signing of Kyoto Protocol.
Yes.
But you know, on the other one side, you have mentioned in your talk that you are against to signing of this Kyoto Protocol, and the other side you have mentioned that you wanted some radical, changes in the environmental management.
Yes.
So you know, it's not clear. Russian role in signing Kyoto Protocol has been acknowledged worldwide. You know, because you and America are the most what is that called, GHG meeting contributing countries,
Yes.
greenhouse gas emission contributing countries. So unless you two countries take power, come forward to adopting solid measures to combat this climate change trend, how will you change the effect? You see, you took a lot of time in signing Kyoto Protocol on the one hand, and on the other hand, you say that you wanted some radical changes in the environmental management system. I fail to understand how, to understand your intention to show to the world that Russia is strongly concerned about the climate change concern.
There is difference, unfortunately, with the official points of view and what scientists know. I can tell you definitely there was a special commission of Russian Academy of Sciences, special commission, not only just an institute of personnel who opposes this, but it was not taken into consideration. And moreover, there was something in newspapers, I don't know how right it was, in newspapers it was that Putin decided to sign the Kyoto Protocol in hope that he would be accepted to World Trade Organization.
So excuse me, the question remains. Are you for Kyoto Protocol reducing this emissions, or you just consider that they doesn't matter? Of course, Russia, this tremendous fall in production, now we are just in a very favorable position because they are just producing much less emissions than it was in 1990s. But if, say, Russia will be increasing production, then what about emissions? They are not against the environment. What is it?
No, there is no doubt that we have to decrease emissions as much as possible. There is no doubt about it. But the question is whether it is the only way and whether it is the decisive way to combat climate
But you see, either you have to be disciplined in taking steps on your own to reduce emissions. So emissions can be reduced only by utilizing environmental friendly technology or energy efficient systems. You see, so you have taken into account the resources available with you in Russia and not bothering for the emissions. It means your production. You are concerned with your production levels and generation levels. Your production, utilizing resources for meeting your country's requirements, but not bothering for the emissions. So, in Indian context, we have also shown great concern for emission reduction at international level, that UNFCCC, United Nations Framework on Convention on Climate Change. So we request, we have expressed our concern at UN level that the developed countries who are the real contributors to the emissions should come forward to show to the world that yes, we have reduced our emissions. So one way could be that to sign the Kyoto Protocol and abide by its laws. That by the year of so and so, you have reduced your emissions by 5% with respect to 1990 levels. And then further program for the developed countries to show the technology, transfer technology to developing countries. There are other binding. You also want to help the developing countries by transferring technology, helping them to in capacity building, in capacity building, in strengthening their institutions, in strengthening their army capabilities, to develop implementing technologies. So those things, in the society of the present time, when the globalization is also taking place in the whole world, unless we have that kind of responsibility in each country's mind, we cannot.
I should your reply just implies that emission doesn't matter much for the
It is one of the ways
But
of the
nevertheless, if it is one of the ways,
so we could, but there
think
is,
about this, maybe.
but there is no need to put such a huge investment only in one direction. And there is another very interesting comparison. This Montreal Protocol, which was signed long ago without any results, real. No results are there expected. Now they're saying that it is about after 50 years or 10 years.
What are other?
But as a result of Montreal Protocol, for our industry of refrigerators was completely stopped, and now we import all refrigerators to Russia.
But nevertheless,
So it is one of the ways to keep competition. One of the ways in competition, how to certainly your protocol is against interest of India check. No doubt.
but nevertheless, what are other directions? You're saying that this one, what other directions? You're saying that
It
this
is
one.
measure to put it, if not to prolong another discussion, to interrupt it so but just simple point. It is greenery of the earth and water of the water. To use water as much as possible rational, because water, particularly when we are in Hyderabad, we know how active it is. Water, one bottle of water from Baikal, Baikal Lake, in Moscow, prices for 1 liter of Baikal water, 57 rupees. Several times more than oil.
Let me explain what she replied. Recently she said that it is a matter of trade-off between different field of investment for if you put all the stress on emission, that's what she said, then you will not have funds or investments for other ways, for beyond water and so on. So it is a trade-off because most of the stress is pushed on this emission and Kyoto Protocol. Some other fields for ecology development left engaged.
Hardcore Russian. Hardcore Russian.
Yes, thank you, Professor. So now we have some information about ecological and also sustainable development problems in Russia. And now we have here the energy security and sustainable development in India report. So I asked Dr. Indrakat to give her his paper.
At the outset, I want to place on record my thanks to the Director of IT, Professor R.K. Mishra, for participating in this seminar. I feel it is a great opportunity for me to learn a lot from the distinguished persons here. Another advantage of this seminar, I think, is that because it is both Indian and Russian delegates are participating, we are understanding ourselves better than what earlier we are. We think certain problems are only with us, and then when we discuss, we come to know that similar problems are there in that. Like that. So, first of all, I want to make observation that academicians, we are very much concerned about sustainable development. But policymakers and politicians, especially at the lower level, are they really interested in that sustainable development? When we look at their programs and policies, we doubt that much. Very much we doubt. Because a party may claim that, okay, we build houses for all the poor families. And it has a very short-sighted objective. And it will build such houses that every year it will build, will promise that 1/5 of the poor households will be given houses. And every year it will provide houses to the 1/5 households. By the beginning of 5 years, all the households will have houses. But after the 5th year, no household will have the house. Why? Because the houses they have constructed is, the first year they have constructed a house which lasts for 4 years. Second year they would have constructed a house which will last only for 3 years. Like that, at the end of the 5th year, there will be no house, all houses would have collapsed. So the programs, when we look at the programs of the state government at lower level, at least if not at central level, lower level programs, we find that their attention is more on short-sightedness, and they are not worried about the long-run interests at all. Because their main interest, like a private, as Professor Mishra was saying, as private enterprise, the motive is to make profit. So as a political party in power, it has its own vision, it has its own agenda. And agenda, it has 5 years agenda. And 5 years again, it has to go to the people and account what they have done for that. So keeping that, maybe environmental issues or long-run issues are get sidetracked by the local governments. Similarly, especially when there are elections around the year, they start giving all sorts of promises, like giving power, free power, 24 hours power, like that. But is it really practical, or is it really, as academicians, we have to question, yes, these such promises, are they required, or does it help the poor persons really? It is only, on the face of it, it appears that it helps, but when we go in depth, even the poor people, when we inquire, they say what we want is not the free power, a power which is regular in supply. Because if free power is given and there is a power shutdown and other things, it will spoil the oiling, electrical pump and machine and everything. So they want at a reasonable price, if you provide regular power supply, they will be very happy. So my first observation, therefore, I was really doubting whether we academicians are very much interested about the long-run interest, but are the policymakers, at least at state level, are they really so serious about our business? But anyhow, as academicians, we have to concern ourselves. Even though policymakers may not be interested, but as academicians, we have to do some experiments. Now, coming to the energy sector thing, yes, morning also there was a discussion and it was very interesting, pointed out that income reliability of energy is coming down. And there was some explanation that it is mainly because maybe perhaps service sector is growing, so our energy consumption per income growth may be falling. But anyhow, if we want to have energy security, we have to give proper importance to all different sources of energy. We cannot depend only on one source of energy because each has its own plus and minus point. And energy mix, it has been well recognized, this energy mix we have to have. And what is more important is, this mix keeps changing with the stage of our development. That's what I wanted to make second important observation. Energy mix is necessary, but as we grow, the energy mix will keep on changing. Maybe initially we may depend more on thermal and coal, but as we move on, further stage of development, we have to shift to nuclear and renewable sources of energy. And that's what is my second observation, that as we progress further, more and more focus must be placed, emphasis must be placed on obtaining required energy from meeting our future energy from the nuclear and renewable sources of energy. Then we have to, there was another paper on energy efficiency use. This is a very important point. I also want to re-emphasize that whenever we are looking at the growth of any sector or any industry, we have to see we have to monitor carefully which is the industry which is having energy inefficient, and we have to control that. Otherwise, we cannot just be satisfied that because it is registering high growth rate, we can afford to grow it. No, that is not possible. If we really want to provide energy security, we have to examine whether it is using energy efficiently or not. Energy security monitoring is very essential. So there was some suggestion also that generally in the production function we have only capital and labor as two inputs. Along with capital and labor, we should also have energy as another input, separate input, and see whether the particular industry is using the energy more efficiently or not. This is my third important observation which I would like to mention, that if we want to provide interest in energy security, it is essential to monitor how energy is being used by different industries, whether they are using efficiently or not. Accordingly, some penalty must be imposed on those industries which are inefficient users of energy. Similarly, at regional level, other paper also, regional dimension, some states may be growing at fast rate, but whether their growth rate is energy intensive, are they consuming more energy also, we have to examine and see, and then corrective measures have to be taken. This is the next observation. Fourth is when we are talking of energy consumption, I think we have to make distinction between household sector consumption and consumption by the industries. Unless we should not lump these two, because household consumption, maybe we have to sometimes, it is whether they are affordable or not, we have to see. And then accordingly we may use price policy to check the consumption, because especially in peak load pricing may be higher, so that energy utilization during that time may be reduced. And sometimes industries maybe for production it is necessary. So total energy consumption must be broken up by sector wise, and emphasis must be placed on how much is the household sector consumption. Again, within that you can have between rural, urban and west, but what is more important is how much of energy is being used for production purpose, how much it is being used for domestic purpose is another important thing. Only when we focus attention on these aspects, then only we can hope to provide energy security. These are some of my few observations. I thank the organizers for providing me opportunity, and this I put this credit of making some small write-up is only to goes to R.K. Mishra, who insisted that I should prepare and present something. So I again once again, sir, I thank you very much. I thank you all the participants for paying attention.
Very interesting. Now I invite Dr. to present a report on environmental issues in energy security. It is very interesting connection and really should be discussed.
Mr. Chairman, I understand when Britishers were leaving India, one of its scribes asked Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, rather sarcastically, Mr. Gandhi, how much time do you think it takes India to reach the limited resources, and even these resources are being used inefficiently, some as low as 10%, resulting in environmental degradation, energy security issues. So it is important for us to focus on issues like energy efficiency. You have an individual interest and you have a society interest. For an individual, it's me that's important. I don't care what's going to happen to the society. As long as my needs are met, I is important. At the society level, we as a community, that's important. For an individual, supply of energy is important. For a society, energy service is important. For an individual, it's a quantity of energy, and for society, it's a quality of environment is important. For an individual, it's a cost-effective technology, and for society, it's resource effectiveness, how effectively you are using the resources. For an individual, price of energy is that matters, and for society, it's the availability of the resources. For an individual, it's a short-term interest, immediate, and for society, it's a long-term development. For an individual, it's the lifestyle needs that are important, and for the society, it is the livelihood needs. So, if we really want to achieve sustainable development, you have to design policies to match the interest of the individual and those of the society. If we can do it, certainly the individual interests are met and those of the society. This is broadly the energy flow. In the year 2005, that of India, we have energy sources like fuel wood, coal, oil, and they are being supplied through different supply agents, through different transportation modes and distribution channels and consumption in different sectors for different end uses. At each and every stage, from supply to end use, there are inefficiencies. If you, I will give one example of coal. 100 units of coal, if you want to extract from the coal mine, the service you receive through lighting is only 2 units. That means the efficiency of utilization is only 2%. So energy consumption in a million tons of oil, you could look at in 1950, 18.5% is coal, and in 2005 is 42%. And biofuels, that's fuel wood, etc., it was nearly 77.5%, they are reduced to 25%. Dr. Inderkant was mentioning about sectoral energy use, and it's very important, not only at the sectoral level, but at the end use level. Honestly, at present, we do not have any information about the end uses. How much electricity we are using for lighting. If we are talking about energy efficiency, we should know how much electricity is used for lighting. This is the sectoral energy, and there is a significant increase in industrial sector, and same is the case with residential sector. This household's energy consumption, 98% of the total in 1950 is through biofuels, and in 85% is in 2005. And LPG, there was no use of LPG in 1950 and around 9% in 2005. What is the impact of particularly the household energy consumption? Every year, 1 million hectares of forest is being cut to serve the household energy consumption, and 15% of trucks and 20% of railway wagons are being used to supply energy to household, and $2.5 billion exclusively for kerosene is being spent on foreign exchange, environment, and 70 billion tons carbon sequestration, and 42 billion tons through carbon emissions. We have done energy scenario in how much is going to energy use or energy demand by 2030, and this is the baseline scenario. By 2030, 1236. This is the billion tons of oil equivalent, and this is the investment in billions of dollars for exploration, development, mining and generation, refining and transmission, distribution, and others 831. So it's very important for us to look for sustainable energy policies. Why it is important? There is a supply risk because it's a major security and self-reliance issue, and the reliability concerns, particularly from the Middle East where we are importing oil. And there is a nexus between energy, economy, environment, geopolitics and sustainability. And the national security issue also we have to take into consideration. And also vulnerability. Generally, if we talk about energy security, we always think about supply security, but it's not the case. We also should think about in terms of demand security. That is, it's linked to affordability, accessibility. Unchecked growth in demand, it threatens energy market stability. So it is very important to focus on development-oriented, service-based, endogenous, self-reliant, environmentally sound and sustainable model. For this, energy efficiency, demand management and renewables are the key priorities. So we developed a sustainable energy scenario through which nearly 20% of the energy can be saved. If we really think the present system is inefficient and we want to change the system into an efficient one and design policies, what should be done? The first thing what we should do is understand the system. What is meant by understanding the system? We have to understand the actors. Who are the actors? Actors at the meta level, actors at the macro level, micro level and meso level. What are their influences? Do they play a positive role or do they play a negative role? Is their role minimum or maximum? If we can understand the role of the actors, then we can understand the system and we can design policies which will benefit the society. So the actors are at the meta level. We have multilateral institutions, and at the macro level we have government, national energy agencies, regulatory commissions, research and development organizations. And at the meso level we have utilities, energy development agencies, and at the micro level we have entrepreneurs, end users and NGOs. For the past 20 years, I did my PhD in 1980s. I completed in 91 from the Indian Institute of Science. And for the past 20 years, wherever I go, I used to have a talk with the consumers and try to find out about energy efficiencies. So broadly, I categorize actors into different levels. The first type of actors, this I can call it as act analysis, and try to find out why they are unable to use efficient technologies. The first type of actors are energy consumers. Among energy consumers, the first type is ignorant. They do not know the clean technologies. How much does it cost, the technology? How much it's going to benefit? Why it is available? They are ignorant. What can be done? It's information, education and training. The second type of actors are consumers. They are aware about the technologies, but they are poor. They cannot afford to have the particular technologies. Take the case of classic compact fluorescent lamp. The incandescent lamp costs 10 rupees, whereas the compact fluorescent lamp costs 120 rupees. They cannot afford to have the efficient technologies. So what can be done? To convert the first cost into operating cost. Suppose the electricity board comes to a residence, remove the incandescent lamp and install the compact fluorescent lamp. Whatever the energy savings you can get through energy bills, it can continue to collect the same amount until the initial investment comes to the electricity board. After that, you will get the savings. The third type of actors are indifferent. These consumers, they are aware about the technologies, they can afford to have the technology, and they are indifferent. when I was studying in Bangalore, around 1,000 households survey I conducted. One particular household I visited. It's a Persian house, around 40 incandescent lamps he was having. And I asked him, sir, you can afford to have compact fluorescent lamps? He said, I can afford. I can afford the electricity bill. So it's a very simple. You adopt a non-linear pricing mechanism. So if you are consuming less than 20 units per month, pay 10 paise per unit. If your electricity consumption is more than 500 units, pay 10 rupees per unit. So there should be incentives for those, significant incentives for those who consume less, and significant disincentives for those who consume more. And there are factors of helpless identification, procurement, installation, operation, and maintenance. So one has to provide expertise, hardware, and software. And attitude and behavior, this is very important, is what I have observed. I am from a village. In 1970s, there is this biogas program. Nearly 75% or 80% of the total installation cost was given to the household. They come and they install biogas plant. I used to go and try to convince each and every village, household in the village, why don't you install biogas plant? And they never did. Even I could not convince my father. So it never occurred to me, because most of the villagers, they don't have trees, and they go to nearby a forest or something, they collect fuel wood, and 2 to 3 hours they spend. If that is the case, why this is a very viable solution? What occurred to me was, after talking to so many people,